Hi everyone, this is Paul here for the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing the astrology report for the week commencing the 2nd of January 2019, and I'll be outlining some of the key aspects and transits taking place during the course of the week and giving an overview of what it all means. Before I do that, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that the astrology doesn't control our lives. It merely gives us a framework to understand what is the best course of action to be taken at this time based on the lessons available for us to be learning, how the different elements of the collective mind working together, and how can we best use the kinds of energies and aspects available so we can maximise our growth based on the opportunities at hand. But for anything to actually change, we have to take personal responsibility for our lives, we have to take responsibility for actions, and we have to take action to make things happen. It doesn't happen by just visualising things and not taking any action. We actually have to participate in the process to create anything new. Now, in terms of the aspects this week, I'll begin with the moon as usual. So she starts off in Scorpio, because this is a time for kind of understanding our deeper motivations for doing things and exploring the heavier elements of our relationships. But it could also be a time where we recognise where we need to let go of stuff, so old emotions that need to be shed. She moves into Sagittarius on the same day, so this is a time where we may feel that desire to explore new truths, to expand our level of perception, and kind of embrace a bit of adventure, if you like, to embrace new experiences. And then on Friday she's going to move into Capricorn, so this is a time for taking personal responsibility for how our lives unfold, dealing with the practical matters and dealing with the main structures necessary to fulfill our goals and making sure they're in alignment. During this particular period we'll have the solar eclipse in Capricorn. This is on Sunday at 1:28 in the morning. I'll be doing a separate video on that, but this opens up an eclipse window for us which goes on until the 21st of January when we have the solar eclipse in Leo. So this is about the new beginnings that we need to set for ourselves, but it's also about learning the lessons of Capricorn or applying them. So things like understanding that we're responsible for our own reputations, so it's also about taking responsibility for our actions, making sure that what we're doing is done with an honourable ethic, that we do it in alignment with truth, and we seek to do everything with honesty and integrity rather than trying to shading the truth or trying to get things at any cost at the expense of our own reputation, if you like. So it's understanding that we can't build a positive reputation without personal discipline. Now the moon will then move into Aquarius on Monday, and this will be a time for us to kind of take a step back, to take stock of our what we've achieved, but it's also looking at our relationship with our communities and see how can we become a better or a more effective member of it. So how can we become more effective in helping our local communities by working on ourselves and striving to be the best version of ourselves we can be. Now, in terms of other aspects during this week, we have the Sun is going to conjunct Saturn on Wednesday itself, and then 2 days later we'll have a sextile to the Sun to Neptune. So that is exact on Tuesday. We also have Mercury entering Capricorn on Friday, and later on Monday we're going to have we'll have Neptune sextile Sun on Friday, so it's Saturday, sorry, that Mercury enters Capricorn, and on Monday Venus is going to enter Sagittarius, and Tuesday Mercury's going to square to Mars. So there's quite a lot of aspects to quickly run through. With the Sun conjunct Saturn, this is an opportunity for us to make sure that we incorporate things like patience, self-discipline, self-control into a sense of who we are, so into our basic sense of identity. But it's also learning to value the need for personal integrity, so recognising that for us to be authentic, we have to own who we are, we have to take responsibility for who we are, we have to have the discipline to control the egoic tendencies in order to make sure that we don't get pulled off track, that we don't sabotage our own efforts. But it's also, if we have personal integrity, Saturn helps us to manifest things. It's a slow road, but it shows us how to strip away the crutches that we rely on and have more faith in ourselves and learn to stand on our own true feet when doing things rather than relying on crutches to do things. So this could be a time where we look at ourselves and see where we're holding on to something as a crutch but we don't actually need it, and where can we let go of it so we can trust ourselves more to learn to stand on our own 2 feet rather than relying on other people, to do things for us, or relying on situations to keep things going for ourselves without us making the effort. With the Sun sextile Neptune on Friday, this brings us the opportunity to incorporate greater things like unconditional love, compassion into our sense of who we are, and it gives us the opportunity to remember to stay in touch with our intuition, to make sure that the intuition is incorporated as part of who we are and part of how we interact with the world, because our intuition will often pick up on things that the rational mind overlooks or ignores because it seems to go against what we think is right or how we perceive things. And it's also, if we have unconditional love and compassion for ourselves, it becomes much easier to radiate that to other people. So it always starts with working on ourselves first and building that unconditional love and compassion towards ourselves, because it's something that allows us to radiate it towards other people, because we can't give other people what we don't have. So it's important that we heal the element within ourselves first and then offer that kind of love to other people. On top of that, we have the next day, Mercury's moving into Capricorn, so this is a time where you may feel the need to kind of discipline the mind or become much more pragmatic and structured about how we approach things. So rather than, because Mercury's been in Sagittarius, this is all about intellectually understanding the big picture, understanding the natural laws, but Capricorn is much more disciplined. It's about focused communication, it's about understanding or intellectually grasping what steps do we need to take and how do we need to discipline our own thoughts so that we don't allow them to distract us or to undermine our efforts towards a goal. And it's to bring our thinking and our communication under the guidance of a higher will, if you like, or the higher mind within us that shows us the bigger picture, the broader implications of things, and also shows us the context or what we need to do or what course of action is necessary, and then discipline the mind enough so our thoughts don't distract us from achieving our goals. As I mentioned, we also have the solar eclipse on Sunday, so this opens the eclipse window, and this is a time where it often feels like it's pushing us to shed the parts of ourselves that aren't in resonance with who we really are in order to make space for the new. But it's also, it sets a 6-month lesson for us to be learning collectively, and with it being in Capricorn and nestled between Saturn and Neptune, this is a key time for us to transform our understanding of or transform our relationship with discipline and responsibility, and rather than resenting it, we seek to work with it, grow from it, and to become stronger. So in fact, sorry, it's not necessarily between Saturn and Neptune, I mean Saturn Pluto. So it's about discipline and it's about truth. It's about understanding our true motivations for doing things, understanding what is our relationship with power, and how do we define it as something external, so our ability to manipulate the world around us, or do we define it as something that's internal, that we become internally empowered so that we don't feel, we let go of the need to control the external environment, and instead we learn to go with the flow, that we exercise our power for the greater good rather than just personal enhancement or personal ambition. And with Neptune, it's about embracing the visionary quality as well, so making sure that we embrace compassion and empathy and unconditional love as the guiding principles for how we operate in our lives. Venus is moving into Sagittarius on Monday. She's been in Scorpio, which has been about that seeking of authenticity in relationships, so stripping away of any falsehoods or any power plays, ideally. With moving to Sagittarius, it's now seeking that higher understanding or broad-mindedness in relationships, so learn to rise above any petty concerns or any petty arguments, and instead look at the big picture, look at the broader understanding of the relationship, and the kind of driving force behind it, and the reason why we're together, why we're in the relationships we have, whether these be romantic, whether they be business, whether they be friendships, whatever kind of relationship. It's about expanding and seeking adventure, seeking a higher level of understanding, and it's embracing fun and potentially even a sense of adventure. So it's designed to grow, to expand, to push the limits of the relationship to a higher level of understanding, greater degree of broad-mindedness. The last aspect I mentioned is Mercury's going to be square to Mars on Tuesday. This is the last of 3 squares between Mercury and Mars that's been going on over the past few months as a result of Mercury's retrograde. This is all about highlighting where our thoughts and the way we analyse things or our decisions seem to go against the actions that we take, or where the information we have seems to clash with our current course of actions, or where our words and our actions are out of alignment. So it comes down to integrity again. Mercury is pushing for us to develop a greater degree of integrity in our thoughts and our words, and Mars in Aries is about driving for action. So it's making sure that it's what we say. If we say we're going to do something, we do it. It's not we say one thing and do another. It's also rising above any clash between these two areas and understanding that our actions and desires need to be informed by our thoughts and how we analyse information. So it's becoming more disciplined in our actions in the process. It's about healing the split between what we say and what we do, so we're seeking greater integrity. And when we do this, we bring our actions into alignment with what we say we're going to do. We honour our promises, we honour our we honour the intentions that we set, and we don't allow for excuses when we do something that goes against what we said we're going to do. So it's all about honesty and integrity. So overall, this is a week of a lot of change, a lot of transformation. In fact, something I've forgotten to mention, Uranus is turning direct on the 6th, so Sunday. So with Uranus direct, everything in the solar system will be in forward motion. There won't be anything retrograde, so there'll be a big drive or burst of energy to push us forward, and there won't be anything to slow things down or anything pushing us to review certain things. So there's a lot can be achieved with everything in direct motion. There's a lot of forward movement, but we need to make sure that we stay in touch with who we are, and we make sure that what we do is governed by truth and love, and not blind ambition or blind greed. We need to make sure that with all the planets in forward motion, we still take time to, ideally in solitude, but not isolating ourselves. The solitude is there to stay in touch with ourselves, free of external distraction, free of external influence, to make sure that what we're doing with all this forward motion is actually aligned with who we are, that we're being true to who we are, and we're being honest with ourselves. So overall, this is a week of a lot of changes and potential for a rapid burst forwards in how we're moving and what we're doing. And it's also a time where we need to make sure that we bring our actions and our thoughts and words into alignment with one another, i.e. personal integrity. And it's important that we also make sure that everything is guided by a higher understanding of the situation, and also that we maintain self-discipline, self-control, and remember to always be engaged in patience rather than doing things rashly, because these are the things that keep us on track, that stop us from falling out of the natural flow and help to keep us in divine flow. It's cutting away the distractions and working on or prioritising what is real for us, what is the right course of action for us, and how can we maximise our growth from it. Just making the most of every single day that comes to us, because life is for living. It's not just for us to be passing through. So every day is an opportunity for us to do more with our lives, to achieve more, to become a better person, to become more real, be more authentic. but that's a choice that every one of us faces every single day, and it's something that we need to choose. We have to make that choice and take responsibility for our lives, and the astrology gives us the opportunity to develop this necessary discipline to cut away the superfluous and stick or focus on the main stuff that needs working on. And through doing this, we can become much greater versions of ourselves. We can achieve far more through cutting away the distractions and working on what's most important. And if we remember to focus on compassion and unconditional love and truth at all times, and use these as our benchmarks as to whether we're taking the right course of action, if everything's guided by love and truth, then we avoid creating karma for ourselves and we accelerate our growth. So may the coming week bring you much transformation, many opportunities for growth, opportunity to become even better versions of yourselves than we already are. Take care and may you be blessed.